Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Laura Rankhorn.
And I'm Kim Crumley, and together we are Counselor Accents, two school counselors who are in the trenches with you.
We know what you're going through because we're living it every single day. It's already summer, and I'm like, I don't even remember what we do every day. So I don't know how to be in the trenches with you anymore.
Please be jelly. Please be jelly.
I am. I don't know of what that you're about to tell me.
Oh, that you're out.
We're out on summer break.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Except, are we?
No, there's never a break. There is never a break.
Yeah.
But it's just a difference. It's just a difference. But we go into something else.
Yeah.
So, what have you?
And my principal's just so good to me that I just, like, I'm going in and working a little bit with her tomorrow. So it's like, I can't let go.
Well, there you go. I have definitely let go. There is a letting go. But, so, it's interesting because some counselors work 10 months, 9 months, 12 months, all different months. And so it's just according to my sister sticking her head in and sticking her tongue out at me.
She should come join us.
Are you doing a podcast?
I am doing a podcast. You'll be on my podcast.
It's like Kelsey doing his podcast and Taylor Swift walking by.
She said it was like Travis Kelce doing his podcast and Taylor Swift walking by.
That's exactly.
You just think that. You just think that. So yes, we're having a Memorial Day hoopla, and it starts at 5, and already guests
people are. I mean, it is standing room only at your house.
It is.
They are knocking the door down. It's the party of the year.
It's the party of the year.
Clearly invitation only because I didn't get an invitation.
You are living in a different area of the world now.
Yeah.
If you still lived here by me, you would have gotten an invitation. Speaking of another area of the world, last night a tornado formed over my little tiny community, headed straight for your community.
Yes, we were both in the line.
Yeah. So I believe tornado is my topic. So if I might continue.
Yeah, go ahead.
So at 3:30 I get them the alarms are setting off and the text messages start coming. Are you up? Are you up? Are you up? Are you up? Well, usually when you get a tornado warning, it is to say that it's in the next county over, but you're in the line. No, it was right when we woke up, Fairview, Alabama, where I live, my tiny little home place. So I am grabbing up stuff, running to my pit, as we say in the South, and grabbing up kids and all the stuff and getting in the pit. And then by the time it was over, I mean, it was just, there was no even really getting to enjoy it. And I knew it was headed to somewhere. I've not been to your new home yet, but I knew it was headed somewhere in your vicinity.
We need to exchange addresses, house keys, all the things so that in the event that we have something like this happen again, you'll know whether or not to worry. Because you should have been worried last night. You should have been very worried.
Talk to me.
Well, very similar to your story. At 3:30, our phones go off, like the alarm. It is the warning. It's not the watch. It's the warning.
Yeah, there was no watch.
There was no watch. Conditions we skipped right from conditions are right to conditions are here.
It was a poof-off.
Yeah.
It was straight. I'm bypassing. It was the double dog dare. You bypassed the dare to the double dog dare. We went straight into.
And so, as you know, my nieces and nephew have been staying with us for several days.
Okay.
So we have been staying up. It's summer. There's no bedtime. And plus, they're here at my house. I want to be the fun aunt. And so there's no bedtime. So we were up past midnight playing games. And then this happened at 3:30 and they're all like passed out in one room in the house. So we get up, my husband and I get up and we're like, what do we do? Do we wake everybody up? Because you know how it is. there are lots of false alarms here in our tornado alley, lots of false alarms. So we didn't know if it was the real deal or not. So anyway, I'm wandering through the house holding my dog and the blanket, just trying to figure out what do we do with these kids. So finally we wake him up. JC said, yeah, this is the real deal. It's like we were in labor. He was like, it's time. It's the real deal. So we wake the kids up and try to corral them down to the bunker. At least 3 of them were like, I'm weathering it out up here. I'm not moving. I'm going to risk it.
Take my chances.
Yeah.
They're awfully young to be so jaded.
I know. Well, it's, we party hard around here. So anyway, I made everybody get up. So we're sitting in the tiny bunker, and I do have a picture, and I'll have to post it because we're all packed in like sardines. And the only reason we went is because James Spann, and I know that like you're the one that made me love James Spann. So we take his voice very seriously. He said, Union Grove, if you were in Union Grove, which we were, he said, if you're in Union Grove, take cover now. So that's why we went and got down in the bunker. For him to call out Union Grove, I mean, it'd be like him calling out
Laura.
Yes, we're almost the only ones that live here. So anyway, so we go down to the bunker, and JC and I are trying to listen to James Spann's voice. And Victoria Bell is crying her eyes out because she's scared. Addie, my oldest niece, she is reading Christian memes to make everybody laugh. She's trying to put on a comedy show. So she is saying things like, you're violating Old Testament law because you're working it on the Sabbath. And nobody's laughing. Nobody thinks it's funny. My other niece is trying to comfort Victoria Bell, saying, it's just wind. It's just wind. It's just rain. Then my nephew is going, it's part of nature. It's part of nature. And he just keeps repeating it over and over again until JC said, stop, just stop. Then somebody breaks wind, for lack of a better term, in the tiny bunker. And I'm like, I'm out on this. I'd rather risk the tornado than sit here in this chaos. So anyway, we did manage to survive. It didn't damage anything. My ferns were knocked over, but other than that, we will rebuild.
Yes, some things you just have to wonder what is it worth waiting?
It's not worth it. But I mean, the thing was not the tornado so much as like the lightning. It was crazy, like a strobe light, like a disco party outside.
Anytime that the lights are like strobe light, that means there's a lot of wind, and it's usually tornadic if it's like a strobe. So anytime, whether you're under warning or anything, when you see that strobe light, there's a tornado somewhere.
You are so knowledgeable.
My business. Speaking of tornadoes, it is coming in like a tornado. These new school counselors and positions are open. I have heard that it is quite difficult to find school counselors right now in some areas. I know in our area it's been a struggle.
Yes.
To find school counselors. So maybe this podcast isn't needed. It's just if you're a warm body and show up, then you might get the job. But just in case you are in an area where there is competition, Laura and I would like to, and we've done this before, but we've had good success with this because we've had people who've reached out and said, I literally got my job because of something that you said. So I think these are good, whether you are going to be interviewing for a new job, or if you're a school counselor and you're in the interviewing process. Mm-hmm. So I think this is, and let me just say, I think the things that we're talking about today, and when you hear them, you'll see they can transfer over to any kind of meeting where you want to stand out as a leader. So we're going to do, the to-dos and the to-don'ts.
That's what we're calling it. Yep.
Yeah, the to-do, to-don't. And I just like saying it. I'm going to say it again. To-do, to-don't. Go ahead, say it.
To-do, to-don't. It feels like a train track. To-do, to-don't.
It feels like a Muppet song. To-do,
to-don't.
Yeah. Da-da-da-da.
To-do, to-don't.
To-do, to-don't.
Yeah.
I want to do that more, but I feel like that's annoying, and I'm going to
You can do it more, and I will edit it out. So do
just
it.
do what I want to do, and then
you'll never know.
No, I don't know that it would end. I just feel like I could
You get caught in that cycle. Yeah.
Okay. So Laura, start with the to-do.
Okay. The first to do that we have is you're going to think, if this has never happened to you, you're going to think, well, yeah, of course, this is common sense, but you would be surprised because, Kim, I think you and I both have an instance where this was a situation. Greet each person as you come into the interview, greet each person. And as you are interviewing, look at each person, make eye contact as you're answering the questions. Don't just look at the person who's going to be making the decision. So, I had this happen in an interview that I was a part of. Someone came in and they did great on the interview, but they only looked at the principal. And so after it was over, I thought maybe it's just me. Like I need to stop being so sensitive. Maybe it's just me. But the other person who was on the interview panel said she was great, but she only looked at you, talking to my principal, and she marked her down for that too. So I thought, okay, it's not just me. So, the panel is there for a reason. They've been selected. And so give them the attention that they deserve and it's just good manners to look at everybody in the room.
I think when people come in, they're so nervous.
Yeah.
And so they forget, they just don't take that time to, it's such a moment of diffusing. I don't know what it is, but once everybody has once you go around, you greet each person and you sit down, even people who have said, I am really nervous right now. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's, it's just making sure that every single person is looked at and that you have not just started, just sat down, just came in and sat down. So that's always very impressive. So that is a big to do. Another to do is, and as we've said, we both have been sitting in on these interviews, and so we've done quite a bit of this. But when people come in when you come in with an interview,
can I add something? I know you're moving on to the next one, but it's like I had this gnawing thought. I don't know if you saw it on my face. I knew there was something else I wanted to
gnawing. I wasn't sure what was gnawing.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that dog that's almost dead was gnawing on your foot. I didn't know what was gnawing.
I've got a whole story about him, but not for this episode. Anyway, so also you don't know who the decision maker is ultimately. Like in some cases it is the principal. In some cases the principal may leave it up to the department. So when you focus your attention on that one person, that may be the wrong person. And for example, I have been a part of a job fair before, and someone came in and spoke only to the person who was standing, not to the principal who was seated, who was actually the decision maker. And this person who was a great candidate walked off, and the person who was standing said, well, actually, this is the principal. And the candidate was like, oh, hey, and stuck out her hand. And the principal was like, you blew it, because she was only focused on that one person. So I would just say, make sure that you don't know who the decision maker is. So just be aware.
Yeah, I think that's very good.
Okay. Sorry.
Number 2, bring something into the room. I don't know what it is that there's been a difference in the folks who've just come in and just sat down, and those that came in and had some something with them that told a little bit about them. So a lot of people that are new have things that they've done in college, or lessons that they've done in college, or, if you have done something for RAMP or ASCA or something for your school that you're at, or, whatever level you're at, or your philosophy, or your, but if you're bringing just your resume, make sure that you have copies for every single person. So you don't know how many that will be. So just have several copies on hand, and some kind of binder or something professional looking that just is impressive. Maybe I'm looking, and this is what's so sad, is that we've had people interview that we knew would probably do a good job. They just did not interview well. And that's why I want to do this episode, because I think there's a lot of good candidates who just don't interview well. And then there's some real some people who can look good and it's all external. There's not any depth to it. So I hate those good candidates just because they can't interview well. So yeah, I think that to me is something that stands out. Okay.
Well, and interviewing, like searching for a job, feels like a job in itself. That it is work to try to find a job a lot of times. And so when I was first like looking for my first counseling job, I had put together as part of an assignment was to do a portfolio in my school counseling program. And I'm sure, I don't know if that's still happening, if everybody's still putting together a portfolio, but every interview that I went on, I customized it for that school. So like the first page was a cover page, and I would put that school's name, the school's mission statement. And I think we may talk about that a little bit later. So I will save that. But I know I had a principal I worked for through, like, that person came in after I'd already been hired, and they said, they looked at my portfolio that I had up on my bookshelf and said, if you were to put this down in an interview, you'd be hired instantly. He said, I've never seen anything like this. So just carrying something in. Also, I was a part of an interview process one time, and they brought in candy bars for everybody. I mean, that's the way to my heart.
That takes some gumption, because that could go either way.
True. Like if somebody says I'm
your audience, so that takes some gumption.
If they said I'm diabetic.
I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to that. I think that shows some confidence.
Yeah.
And that what you're just saying kind of leads into this next to do, which is look at the school that you're going to be interviewing with. So when we talk to kids about careers and jobs, one of the things that we say is look at the philosophy of the business. Look on their web, look at their social media. What is their goal? What is important to them? And so when if you're looking at a school, how long does it take to pull up their website and kind of get a feel for their mission, their philosophy? And more importantly, what are the pictures saying? What are some of the things that you're seeing on social media? What is important to them? Like, what are they doing right now? And coming in like you did with already that page made up for that school shows that you've taken time to look at what that school's about. And that's super impressive. So this one, we might get some feedback on this. I don't know. But do you think when I say dress appropriately and what I mean is we have had candidates who've come in and it's like, this was a job interview. Put some time in. And one particular person that I think would have done really well, but that just everything was just frumpy, not ironed, not put together well. And it almost, you get a sense of like looking at the hair, the frumpy. I know you're looking at me right now. I get it. I know what you're saying. That's maybe how that translates to your classroom or your office. Do you agree?
Well, I think that the Queen Reba puts it best when she says, this is your one chance fancy. I mean, you've got to put your best foot forward. You get one shot. Maybe it's Eminem. This is your moment. This is your whatever. You got to own it.
Either one.
I just want everybody to be impressed with my musical. Like I went from Eminem and Reba. Like
You're trying to include everybody.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. All the whatever
genres. Yeah. But anyway, it's your one chance. You get just that moment to make a first impression. And so you want to put your best foot forward. So I do think it's important to dress for the occasion.
Put a little effort. Iron what you're going to wear. Don't wear something just wrinkled or don't look like I look right now. So the last, it's not the last to do because I have one to do I'm going to slip in because I'm afraid I'm going to forget it.
Okay.
It is very impressive to wrap back around to that team and send an email or a card thanking them for their time. So that can you're really looking for anything that's going to set you apart if you're really wanting that particular school. So now to the last one. Laura, go right ahead.
I think it's important for you to make sure that your personal social media is in order. So I would encourage you to go make sure that everything is appropriate. I've been with a principal before when they have, because it's the day and age that we're in. And if you have a social media account, you have to know that your principal is probably going to be checking it out before you even step into the school. So it's just the way things are. And if you've got a bikini picture from 2017, your principal's going to be looking at it. So, and nothing wrong with a bikini picture. I'm just saying, pick and choose. What do you really want to put out there?
Yeah. So just, what that's going to tell a story too. So
Yeah.
you look at that and say, what kind of story is this telling about me? And if I'm in my bikini and I'm posting that, I'm going to be hired. I am going to be hired. Darn this teenage vibe. So we're moving right along. Do you have any more to-dos that are burdening your heart, or can we move on to don'ts?
I think we can move on to some. Well, we do have another to-do down at the bottom, but we can. Well, I'll just say it now.
Sure.
Do come with questions, and I think I've said this before, but back a long time ago, before I was a school counselor, I worked for a yearbook company. And the manager who was interviewing people, new people to hire, she and I met just for dinner one night. I was already hired, but she was in the process of interviewing. So I'd ask her how interviewing was going. And she said, I want to give you advice. She said, if you are ever in a position where you're going to look for another job, she said, I've interviewed so many people today. She said, my advice to you is don't look like an idiot. Ask a question. She said, at the end of the interview, whenever I say, do you have any questions? She said, you wouldn't believe how many people say, nope, that's it. Nope, I don't.
Yeah.
So ask questions.
I agree. That's the last thing that we've said in every interview that we've done with my school. And it is, what questions do you have? And most say none. And then the few that do say, that stands out to me. I'm like, yeah, you're serious. You've thought about this.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things that you're looking for. Or, really great questions can draw the principal out or the team out, and that makes it enjoyable, so that they get to talk a little bit about their school. So just think about something that you can ask so that you don't end with that.
Yep, it's very true.
So to don't, Laura,
moving on to the to-don'ts.
You want to take this one?
Sure. I would say don't misrepresent yourself. And I think you've got the balance on the other side. So, but don't misrepresent yourself. If they say something like, can you lead the majorettes? And you've never twirled a baton, don't say, oh, yeah, I've got that. No problem. Because it's going to come down to, they're going to say, okay, well, what routine do you have for the majorettes? And you're going to say, I don't know anything about majorettes. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't have a clue.
You're going to be found out. But if you say, I've never twirled a baton, but I've always admired the sequin outfits and I would love to be a part of that. That shows you're willing to learn. And people want to then come alongside you and help you because you've been honest and said, I don't know anything about it, but I want to learn.
And I think even it's better to, if you don't know the answer to a question, even if it's a school counseling, something that you should, if you don't know it, just say, I'm drawing a blank right now. I need to relook at this. I'm so sorry. I'm not familiar with what you're saying, anything like that. But it's better just to name it than to misrepresent or to because you're exactly right. You will be found out. And if you're saying you're more than you are,
Mm-hmm.
that too. So on the other end of that is don't be over humble. Is that a thing? The way that sentence rolls off the tongue, don't be over humble. What would that be? Over humble. What's the word for don't be over humble?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so this you need to be confident. And I think there's a difference between being prideful or coming across as a bull, as we talk about a lot. So you don't want to be that person who already knows that, has already done that. But, you do want to, you're there to sell yourself and how you can help that school move forward. And so do that. It's not going to come across as the school is wanting the school to look better.
Mm-hmm.
The school is wanting a program. So if you are being confident and telling what you're able to do to help that, that's a bonus. That's not, some people have trouble selling themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no matter what, if you're fresh out of school, the latest and greatest. And so be confident and share that information that you have. If you have been doing this for 40 years, my goodness, you've seen it all, done it all, you know it all. And so, like you said, don't be a bull, but own what you know, because it's valuable. And brainstorm, think about ideas. I've had a couple of interviews in the past where they've asked, what ideas do you have for our school? So again, that's where that prep work came in handy, because I looked to see, okay, what age group are we dealing with? What are the needs? Just, a quick little data search can show you some of those things. And then just be confident.
Here's another doozy. Don't take the job if it doesn't feel right. So if you've looked at all the background stuff on the school, you've talked to people, possibly you go into that interview, the way if you're dealing with a leader that's a bull leader, and it's, my way or the highway, and you get a feel that this just isn't for you, it might not be a good idea to take the job. So just because you're going for the interview doesn't mean that you necessarily have to take that job.
Yeah. Don't feel pressured. And if you are in an area where it's still cutthroat, and I do hear that there are those places, we're not seeing that down here. So you may want to come down here, because there may be job openings down here for you. Mm-hmm. But even
you can stay with Laura in Union Grove. And it's a tornado alley, basically.
Come on.
It's fun.
But it's better to wait for the right opportunity than to be miserable and to feel every day like dreading going in because you felt pressured to take a job that just you knew wasn't a good fit for you.
So Laura, this last one, and this happened, so I know it happens. Don't come unprepared. So our good friend, who is a director of school counselors, did interviews, and she said that there were people who had no idea how much time should be spent with direct services, couldn't really tell you what indirect services were. Really, I mean, when you think about that, I'm thinking, how did you get out of school and not know these things? So you might want to brush up and come prepared. So know your business. And when you look at the ASCA website, when you look at go back through what you learned in school, so that, I mean, those are some pretty big no-nos for school counselors to not have any idea percentages of times or what their services were. And there were some other things that she mentioned that they just were not prepared for. So that's surprising. But
that is surprising. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to hawk our wares. That's not the purpose of this podcast episode. We really do just want to help you get that job. But our book has a lot of those, like helping you understand the role of the counselor, brushing up on the role of the counselor. So you may want to pick it up in your Amazon cart and just brush up. It's a fun read, and it may help you get some ideas of what to do or what not to do.
Absolutely. So these are to do, to don't for this time of year, because now tis the season. Tis the season. We're already interviewing for next year, and you may be, or you might want to share this with someone who you know. is fresh out of school and looking for a job, or maybe you want to change jobs.
And I just want to say, going back to the feeling pressured to take a job that may not be a good fit for you, um, I see so many counselors who give it a year or two and then they think this is not what I'm cut out for. And I just want to say it may not be that. It may be that you're in the wrong place and the job may be completely different in another place. So I just feel like a lot of times we lose really good counselors because they're either at the wrong level or they're at a place where they're not truly doing the work of a school counselor. And just I would say give it a shot somewhere else before you just give up totally.
Absolutely. I
Because
think
we
that's
need good counselors. We
the
need you.
best advice. Yeah. When you find that place,
Mhm.
you'll know it. So,
Yeah.
okay. So what do we got going on?
We got a lot of stuff. I mean, you and I talked earlier today one of these days. And I mean, we're already tired. The summer's already over, it feels like, even though day one of summer.
It has not happened yet.
Right.
The summer season has not
Yeah.
started yet, and we're
But we've got a lot of stuff. I'll be in San Antonio. You will not.
I will not.
I will be you and I will be in Tuscaloosa. So if you're a high school counselor and want to come to this 2-day event in Tuscaloosa,
For Alabama. This is at the University of Alabama. So the dates on that are June the
25th and 26th.
It's 2 days you get to hang out with Laura and I, and we have so much fun. And we learn about careers and computer science and all of this stuff. So it's for high school counselors, it is really a good introduction to what's out there. So,
and you may be thinking, how in the world do computer science and counseling go together? And we also wondered that a long time ago, but it is one of the things that we are the most passionate about now. And it's one of our favorite topics to talk about. We will get up on a soapbox in
half a second.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we have that coming up. And then I cannot wait to say this. I don't even know where this is in the lineup, but we will be speaking at ASCA in Missouri in July. Are we there for your birthday?
Not this year. We won't be together for my birthday for the first time in
4 years that I've not been.
Yeah.
So I guess I will be with you on your birthday. Just decide what you want to do.
Hey, and you know what else? We are part of the summer counseling conference that Carol Miller, the Queen of School Counseling, puts on every year. And so we will drop a link because the number of people that you get to hear from in this school counseling conference are just like, it'll blow your mind when you see who's speaking at this thing. It's every topic from elementary to high school, everything from careers to coping skills she's got it covered. And so we're leading a session and lots of people.
Some of the best will be leading
sessions.
Yes,
big names that you'll recognize.
So you definitely want to check out this link that we're going to put in.
The price until June 15th is unbelievable. I think it's $49. And again, the number of people that you hear from are just, it's so valuable. So the price will go up after June 15th. So get it now and join us.
Sounds fun. Sounds like we got a lot of good things coming up.
We do. All right. Well, you can follow us on Instagram. You can like us on Facebook, and you can sometimes watch these on YouTube. Maybe not today because of your hair.